This is Jason Verney's podcast. I am Jason Verney. In this podcast, I want to talk about a film that I've just seen. It's a Korean film, and it's one of the let's say London Korean Film Festival's teaser screenings. They've done a few this year. I think they've got one or two more. And it was on tonight. This being Monday, the 10th of July. I have to remember what month it is. I've had a hectic couple of months, being away twice and filming and stuff. Now this is not necessarily a review or critique of the film. It may be a critique of the genre. But this film, Bluebeard, now that's the film title, but that's actually the English version title. The Korean title was actually Haebing, has a different meaning. As with many Korean films or foreign films, they choose a different title for the English market, and maybe it's completely different meaning. And I can't even say that in this film I actually realised what it was, but perhaps I missed it somewhere. So this film is kind of a psychological thriller. It's by director Lee Soo-yoon, and she's done one other main film before, which was several years ago, so many years ago, 2003. She did a film called The Uninvited, which I know from just this evening, I know that's meant to be a very good film, perhaps even in contrast to what other Korean films were like at the time, in 2003. This is, I guess, her follow-up, but she's done some other directing or work since, which that I've sort of researched, but this is her second kind of big screen outing, as a director and a writer, so I have to commend her on that. And this one is maybe more commercial. This particular film, Bluebeard or Haebing, it's more. Some people say it might be more commercial, but I might like to say that it's more conventional in the types of these kind of films. Now, the reason I didn't want to kind of do a review as such, because I didn't want to be a bit biased. I didn't want to sound biased although I might feel that I'm being biased with giving it a review, giving it maybe even a negative review when perhaps it's not my kind of film. I'm not sure if I've actually mentioned this on other podcasts, but when there's a film that has dream sequences or flashbacks, but dream sequences especially, or at least you think this is happening, but this didn't actually happen. The person wakes up, or the person realises that didn't take place. That said, in this film, as the brilliant Anton Bitel, he introduced in his good little introduction, it was a little bit full of a couple of spoilers, I suppose, or it's not so much spoilers, it's more like plot breakdown of what happens, and it was kind of important because he wanted to mention a certain thing that keeps appearing in the film, which is kind of essentially something quite gruesome, but it's a head in a bag. So these kind of sequences in films, they happen so much, and in this kind of film as well, and in horror or thriller, they happen a lot, and sometimes that's what people kind of count on for the reactionary status of the audience, or the reaction from the audience. And so I even knowing that was probably going to be the case, and a film starts off slow with quite a few of these moments. And although it might feel long, it's a couple of hours long, the film, or it might feel slow, in the director's defence, I think maybe that was intentional to make it slow, to make it this is a build up to a bigger picture, a bigger story. But the other thing with this kind of film, you get, it's an excuse to come up with anything. It's an excuse to, it's like, where it's a horror film, you can just have any excuse. Oh, this person's doing this because of this, and oh, is this person behind this door? No, it's not. Why? Well, it doesn't matter why. It's just not. Those kind of scenarios. There's no explanation. But this film, I'm going to say, as it's maybe not my kind of film. That said, I have liked some of these films. I mean, I saw The Devil, which was a lot, much, I guess, more successful, but very different, but also gory and a bit gruesome, like this film. I just don't know if it was all necessary. I mean, it was a good. I don't want to use the word attempt. It was a good film for what it was, for that genre. I don't think it was bad. But there's certain things in the film that you've seen many times, but maybe that was necessary. Maybe that wasn't even the director's choice. Maybe that was the producers and the companies involved. I mean, there's Lotte Entertainment. There's 7-Eleven sponsors. I don't know. There's all these invested interests that must have had some say in scenes. Perhaps when test screenings went ahead, there was changes. I mean, one thing that I know just from reading up on or even attending film say classes or mini school events, there's the classic interview scene where the camera sort of goes between the two people talking in the film, kind of interrogation scene even, and it moves because the viewer, you don't want the viewer to be bored. I mean, some films, I think the film Heat, that's one shot and it's two people talking with De Niro and Pacino. And there's other films, I think that's, or at least in, I forget the name of the film now. There's another film like that as well, similar. Sometimes it's necessary. These are just tactics of filmmakers and the way that I guess film school and other films, or even your film director idols, they do. So you do. It's kind of an acknowledgement or a homage to that director. And I also want to say this while I'm mentioning all this information, this critique of this film. I'm a kind of a small-time filmmaker, as well as a artist, a writer, blah blah blah, and they do say that critics shouldn't make films and filmmakers shouldn't critique films or review films. And so Mark Kermode, who's a very well-known film reviewer, TV film reviewer especially, in the UK, he says that they shouldn't really merge, or they shouldn't really compare things, or they shouldn't really say that film's no good and whatever. But it kind of goes with the territory, and there are people that have been film reviewers that actually turned into filmmakers and directors, quite famous ones, I believe. So yeah, there's that, and this film itself, I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, I kind of lost my way, and that's probably not really the film's fault. That was me, it was. I knew what kind of film it was going to be after not too long, and it was. Certain things happen, but so many things keep changing, and so many things keep happening, but not really happening. And do I suspect that guy? Do I suspect that guy? I know that's the whole point of these films. But it was just, yeah, I think it was, it was well done. I mean, some people say her third film will be even better. Or the thing is, when you become like this, I mean, it's been a 14-year gap since her last film, but who's to say this film hasn't been in production all that time. Her previous film was also kind of ghost related, or I suppose a supernatural, and so she likes this subject matter. This was a psychological thriller, but it had some sort of thing about people being sedated, dreaming, things not happening, perhaps some otherworldly thing happening even. So, the third film could be, hopefully it's not going to be too commercial, or maybe that's what will happen. These things do happen. So yeah, I feel it was I guess it was good for what it was, this film, and it was a good choice to show. It was actually made in 2017 as well, so it's a very current one. In fact, their next film, the Korean Cultural Centre, who kind of put this on, combined with their spin-off, which is the London Korean Film Festival, which has been going for over 11 years now. They've chosen the next film, which is a Taxi Driver, it's called, and it's related to Gwangju and the political stuff happened there. But it's also, apparently we're going to see it as its UK premiere, as was tonight's film a UK premiere. We're going to see that film a week or so after it's been released in Korea, so that'll be quite fun, interesting. And to me, excuse me, to be honest, it's something I'm really interested in. I just come back from Korea and I visited Gwangju for a second time, and I'm very tuned into I feel like I'm tuning into their sadness, their sorrow, and the stuff that's happened in that city. People, their lives lost, and you could say in the name of politics, which I suppose it was, some corruption or something similar. But one other thing I should mention about this film tonight, Bluebeard, or was it Haebing? I'm just checking this. Get my facts right here, or get my pronunciation right. The main actor in this film is Cho Jinwoon Cho. He will be almost unrecognisable, but he's in The Handmaiden as the kind of Japanese uncle, kind of father figure to the pretty bad father figure to the girl, Hideko, I think her name is. I should know. I've seen the film enough times. So, it had a pretty good cast. Again, there's a kind of a detective that was on the scene, and he was your typical kind of detective. Again, this might be a pastiche or a homage to other detectives. He had the hat on with a kind of slightly sort of over the eye kind of look, and maybe it was trying to be some famous detective. I mean, all in all, I don't really want to give too much judgment on this film, because I have my own views on this genre. So this is why I wanted to record this to excuse me, just kind of say briefly what I thought about the film, but without actually being too negative against it. It was I guess it wasn't for me. But at the same time, I guess I kept thinking, and also because I'm into filmmaking, and I see stuff, and you just, it's even when I see a film and it has a dream sequence, as I said before, even just once in a film, I think, it wasn't there another way to do that. And as I said, that I kind of let this film off the hook for that, because it's kind of it was almost necessary to show such sequences, maybe, because it's all meant to be, is it in his mind, or all these things happening? Was it the other person next door? Was it sedation? Was it drugs he was on that was making this happen? Well, medical type drugs. And there's more to this film than what you might think, but at the same time, I don't know if it's been done before somewhere. I'm sure it has, and it felt like it had in places. So that's it, really. The London Korean Film Festival will be happening this year. They announced the dates. Well, they mentioned the dates tonight. I think it was a proper announcement. I think they said 20th of October 2017 until maybe the first week in November. So that'll be exciting. I'm not sure if I'll be here for that. I'm often away, or in Busan Film Festival at the time, but we shall see. We'll see what happens in the next few months. So that's it, and this screening was at the Regent Street Cinema. The next one, I think they're kind of alternating. The next one will be at Picture House Central, It's a completely different, setting altogether. So that's it. I'm hoping I will also mention that I'm talking about Korean film. I'm hoping to actually catch by the end of this week Okja on the big screen, a Bong Joon-ho film. Even though it's on Netflix, which I don't currently subscribe to, but I'd like to see it on the big screen. I know there's mixed reviews about it, but I want to see it. That's what I mean. I might see it. The Curzon, Victoria Curzon, or the Bloomsbury Curzon, but we will see. And I think I will leave it at that. So I will just say, I hope you're all well wherever you are, and adios. Speak to you next time. See ya.